What is up, everybody? It's Rob here, and I'm coming at you with a Thursday nightly watch list. And today was absolutely insane, right? We have the markets down over 2% today, a big drop, and you're going to hear exactly why right now, why that happened, and what to keep your eyes peeled out for. So, right, the record U.S. government shutdown just ended as Trump signs the spending bill, okay? So the past couple of days, what you've been seeing is the market going up, and it's called a front run, right? The market is always forward thinking, okay? It's gonna, make projections into the future, right, and invest on that, okay? So it's not always about what's happening now; it's about what is happening in the future, okay? So the first explanation for this move, right, it was a sell the news event, okay? Right? A lot of times traders and investors, right, they'll invest into something, right? A belief they think is coming, okay? And when the headline comes out, okay, that's when they sell because, like, for example, right, the market was going up and up, right? Past 2 days, you saw it on, the government about to reopen, and then traders sell the news because, right, they have to have the next thing to look forward to. So now with the government shutdown, right, already passed, you already had that move, okay? And then, all right, reason number two, okay, there is uncertainty from delayed economic data causing lowering odds for a December rate cut, okay? A month ago, right, a December rate cut for 0.25%, 25 basis points, was at 95% a month ago. Today, we're at 50%. So, with the government shutdown, there was a lot of data that was not released. So, all right, traders are now going, oh my God, like maybe we won't get that December rate cut. And if you don't remember from before, right, well, the last Fed meeting, Jerome Powell actually came out and said, hey guys, like, I know like the market is aggressively pricing in this rate cut, but there's still a chance here that, come December, we won't cut rates. And, slowly over time, we've been seeing, well, that has been coming down, right? The percentage to 50%. And you can actually track this because, right, there's Fed rate futures, and right, you can price in, the probability of it occurring. And I can throw up a screenshot on the screen for you right now. But if you want to find out the website, it's called like Fed CME Futures Rate Cut Tracker, something. I don't know the exact name, but I'll post it on the screen for you. So, right, you have a sell the news event on the federal government reopening, and at the same time, right, the market was freaking out today because they're not going to get their rate cut, okay? And right, you're also getting some jitters from economists and macro people going, well, there's inflation concerns, and the Fed said last time they're going to have a restrictive stance. So, to be determined. But all right, this is just a little freak out, right? VIX pop. This rotation actually started 2 days ago into value names. So if you look back 2 days ago, right, you'll see, right, the Dow was up, and you saw the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq actually going down. So 2 days ago, if you watched the last watch list, right, go and watch it. I was saying, hey guys, like, look, NVO, Nike, right, some of these value names that we're looking at, okay, right, they've been beaten up all year. Right, they're at a really good price. And then what you saw was rotation into these names, right, into the Dow and tech sell-off. So whenever you hear the term rotation, what that means is, right, money is moving around, okay, from one sector, right, to the other. So what you're seeing is a sell-off in tech, which, has been flying high this year because of AI. You're seeing that money rotate into value names such as like Walmart, Costco, right, Nike, right? You'll see these names. So whenever you hear, right, a rotation into value, it means a risk reduction, right? People taking less risk and then more to, consumer staples, right? Things that, even if the economy does get worse, you're still going to need. But you could have actually spotted this rotation 2 days ago, okay, if you're watching the market. So that is, right, what's moving the market right now. Okay, what's causing this big concern. And we are seeing crypto selling off over like 8% today. Bitcoin was under $100,000. And then we also saw, right, the volatility index above 21 today. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to these key levels, okay? 25 and 30. Okay, whenever the VIX hits 25 or goes above it, okay, you're always going to see usually a snap back down, okay? Volatility will cool off because you can't have volatility sustain itself at high levels for too long, right? Volatility is, how much things are moving up and down, right? Big movements, boom, 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 right? That is volatility, right? Price is moving. And I always like to explain volatility to people with an analogy. And I go like this, okay? If someone punches you in the face, right? You're going to be mad instantly, right? You get punched in the face, you're going to be like, what the hell, man? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, and you're going to be instantly mad. So you see a big move, right? Then maybe you're right the next day, a day later, right? You're still going to be mad. You're going to be like, man, this guy punched me in the face, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So then you're still going to be like volatile, right, with your emotions, okay? Day 3 comes around, right? Oh, I mean, I got punched in the face. It sucks, whatever. I got to, continue with my life, all right? And then as you see, as time goes on, right, you're going to forget about it, what happened in the past, okay? And you're going to cool down. Your emotions are going to cool down. And that's the same thing with volatility, okay? Right? When you get, news that comes out, right? Boom, like getting punched in the face, you're going to see the volatility index jack up. And the analogy today, right, like getting punched in the face is, right, this December rate cut, right, going all the way down to 50%, okay? And, right, economic data not getting released, and then the sell the news from the government shutdown. So this is day 1. But you can look at a historic price data on the VIX, and you'll see anytime it goes above 25, and especially 30, it's not going to stay there for long, okay? If you don't know this yet, okay, when the VIX rises, the market sells off, okay? So, right, when the VIX gets too high, right, that's usually a sign, right, to go into the market and buy the dip, okay? Because when the VIX comes down, the market's going to go up. So with us being at 21, right, watch the levels 25 and 30, okay? I can put a chart up on the screen for you if I remember to do it when I'm editing this video, okay? And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. But always remember that, right? That analogy I have with volatility, okay? It doesn't last forever, right? Things always cool down, right? When something first happens, boom, you get a lot of emotion, and over time, right, it flattens out. So, with that being said, right, with this big move and a lot of volatility, Robinhood down over 9.5%, Tesla down over 8%, right? Disney, right, they had earnings, right, but they were down over 8%. Coinbase down 7%, Palantir down 7%, Nvidia, right, down 5%, AMD down 5%, and right, when you see names like Nvidia down 5%, well, that's going to be a big day for the market because you'll know that when you watch the indexes, right, how they're weighted, you'll see a lot of times that these tech names are the majority of the weighting. So, for example, if you look at the S&P 500 ETF and you look at, the percentage of each holding, well, the tech, right, one tech name, which is Nvidia, right, could be like 10% of it, okay? So if the big allocation name has a move, well, that's going to primarily drag down the market, and that's what you saw today, right? You saw that the NASDAQ was leading, right? Small caps over down 2.5% compared to the Dow because it's a rotation, right, from tech to value names. So there you are. Right? Don't panic. Don't fear, right? Volatility is a great thing, right? It provides us opportunity to trade, make money, and also add to the long-term portfolio, right? When the market's freaking out, okay, that gives us opportunity, right, to add names and make good trades. And like I've been telling you guys, right, we've been, adding value all year to long-term portfolio. It's been beaten up, and I'm actually seeing, right, some of these names go up, right, that we've been invested in, okay? And that's exactly why with the long term, right, when you're seeing growth, doing really good, that's when you want to go into the market and add value names, right? And vice versa. So, keep your eyes on the market, right? Volatility right now presents opportunity. So there you go. That's what's moving the market. And then I'm going to tell you some of the news, right? Some of the headlines, big headlines for the day to know about, right? Michael Burry, right? The famous short seller, right? From 2008, right? Made the whole movie about him. Michael Burry, right? Scion Hedge Fund has deregistered. And there's actually a letter circulating where he's, sent a message to his, investors saying, hey, I'm closing down the fund. And basically what he was saying was that, his view on the market has not been profitable recently. he's been short the market and it's been killing him for a long time, and he just views, he's not really seeing anything good in the market for him to invest in. So he's closing down his hedge fund, which it's Michael Burry, okay? Big name, so big news for the day. I also have for you Verizon, okay? They are to cut about 15,000 jobs, okay? So there you are for that. Also, BABA, they were up over 4% pre-market on China's single day. Now, this is a big day where, people in China spend money. And actually what we saw, right, the singles day wasn't as good as expected because, frugal shoppers and people on budgets actually shrinked the world's biggest sale. So if you're not familiar, look up China's single day and look into Alibaba because it's a big news headline that came out on that. Research that. And also, I've been telling you guys, right, a name I want you to watch, right, is FUN, ticker symbol FUN, Six Flags, okay? Because they have an activist investor getting involved, and Travis Kelce also invested. And, right, that headline right there is going to create a lot of opportunity. This name moving up and down, and it's been getting absolutely smoked, almost down so much on the year. I mean, pull up a chart of it, but keep your eyes out because this name can really move a lot, okay? And it was up over 5% pre-market just today because a headline came out that said, right, Jana provides update on investment partners, okay? And basically some of their investment partners moved it around, but just on that headline and the stock being down so much, it was up over 5% pre-market. And we actually made a trade this week that was really great. I bought the 17.5 calls that expire. It was like the most recent option. I think it was November 21st. It was like 10 days or something, right? But I bought the 17.5 calls, right, at 25 cents, and then I sold them at 50, okay? So we made 100% return on investment on that trade. All I was doing there was buying, calls on FUM because it's been so beat up. But like I've been telling you guys, right, just keep your eyes out on that name. And then also we have here, all right, look at the weed stocks, right? MJ, ETF, MSOS, TLRI, Tilray, Canopy Growth, CGC, because many hemp-derived THC products are actually going to face a U.S. ban as Trump signs this new spending bill. So definitely, a sector to look into, right? And then I also have for you, right, Disney down over 6% pre-market because they did have earnings that just recently came out. And they missed their revenue estimates amid like TV pressures with them. But the company did increase their dividend. And they missed on revenue but beat on EPS, and they also boosted their 2026 buybacks to $7 billion. They lifted their multi-year EPS outlook, and they reported 196 million Disney Plus Hulu subscribers, and they actually said that ESPN streaming launch was gaining some early traction. So that was the news on Disney, but big name Disney, right? Been trying to recover after a lot of things, and down 6% pre-market. So, guys, that's what's moved the market today, and everybody's watching, right, because you're seeing all the headlines come out. We had a big, big move today. The U.S. government shutdown ended, but, right, don't fear, okay? Nothing crazy's happening. Don't let, the market freak you out all over, the rate cut odds coming down to 50%, right? The market has been up big, big, big time, right? I've been telling you guys the market's been in like an AI bubble, and you've been seeing a lot of names going crazy. Okay, but right when the market's going up as fast as it is, well, when a little thing freaks out the market, you're gonna get moves like this. Okay, but it doesn't mean we're gonna keep dropping. So like I told you, keep your eyes on the VIX right now because it's already at 21. But that's everything I have for you guys. Stay safe out there. Post in the comments once you guys are watching. But peace out.